Bonjour, welcome to Wahsa Distance Education Center's radio Zoom classes. This is MBF3C, grade 11 college math, and I am Bronwyn Slade. If you'd like to participate live, you can call the Wahsa studio at 1-800-465-144 or 737-4017. Then you can ask me questions if you have them. You can listen on the radio at 91.9 FM or on the television at Bell Express U channel 972. You can always join me through Zoom. The link is available through me, your teacher, or through your DEC. Our classes are scheduled Monday through Thursday, 11 till 12 in the morning. And we are now in week 4 of our 9-week class. A reminder of what work to submit for marking. The support questions, those marked with a pencil icon, are not to be submitted for marking. You decide which ones and how many of them to do. They are just for practice to help you get comfortable with the concepts. If you are understanding concept and feeling fine with it, please feel free to skip them. You use your time wisely. But if you need more practice and more questions, please let me know and I can send you more. The answers are in the back of your booklet, so you can check your work and make sure you're on the right track. However, mistakes have been found. So if anything isn't lining up or making sense, please let me know and we can look to see if there are errors. The key questions, the ones marked with the key icon, are the ones to submit for marking. So please do all of those questions and show all of your work, your steps, and your thinking. This way I can give you part marks if you make an error and I understand where you might need some support. If you just give me your answer, I don't know if you make a mistake, why you made the mistake. So please show all of your work. How to submit your work for marking. The first method is to scan and send your work in electronically. You can use your scan function if you have a smartphone on either the iPhone Notes app or the Android Google Drive app. This means if you scan it, the file is slightly smaller and clearer for me to read, and it can group it into one document. If you just need to send pictures, that's fine too. You can email it through studentwork@nnec.on.ca and CC it to me, bronwyn.slade@nnec.on.ca, or you can send it to me through Facebook Messenger to bslategewahsa. Second method, you can drop your work off in Sioux Lookout. We have an outdoor mailbox at 74 Front Street. We're the big red building next to the post office, and we have a little small white mailbox next to our side door. We are working remotely currently, so it may take me a couple of days to get it, but I'll get it back to you as soon as I can. The third method is to hand your work into your DEC. Your DEC can then either send your work through the Express, or fax it to 807-737-1732, or toll-free fax to 1-800-463-7852. If you have any questions or concerns, if you're struggling with anything, please contact me. Email is one way to get me, which is bronwyn.slate, which is spelled BRONWYN.SLATE@nnec.on.ca. You can Facebook message me at bslategewahsa. You can call and leave a message for me at the office and I can call you back. The number is 807-737-1488 or toll free 1-800-667-3703. My office hours currently are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. You'd like to connect with me through social media, my Facebook and YouTube channel are both under the name bslategewahsa. So feel free to friend me and subscribe to my YouTube channel. All of our radio Zoom classes are posted and uploaded to YouTube and shared on Facebook shortly after they air. So that's a great way to access those videos. There are also short videos explaining common errors and confusing concepts on my YouTube. So it's an excellent place to access if you need help. Math is a very visual subject. So if you're able to tap into and watch the videos, I strongly encourage it, either joining Zoom or accessing the replays on YouTube. being able to see what I'm doing, how I'm laying things out, really is going to make you understand it most likely the best and set you up for the most success. So please try to get a hold of those. If you don't have access to the internet, but do have access to a computer, you can let me know and I can send you a USB with the videos on it. Okay, we're on day 14 of our course. And today we're looking at lesson 10, which is buying new and used vehicles and looking at vehicle costs. So our learning goals are such that at the end of this lesson, you can say, I will know all the costs involved in buying a new vehicle. I will understand the advantages and disadvantages of buying new and used vehicles, and I will be able to explain the fixed and variable costs of owning and operating a vehicle. Success criteria, knowing that you've met your learning goals because you can say, 1, I can calculate all the costs involved in buying a new vehicle, and 2, I can calculate the fixed and variable costs of owning and operating a vehicle. Let's activate our brain. Let's do some mental math and get us going. Many of us experienced math minutes when we were growing up as our sort of getting into math as our lesson or brain activation, but they were really negative experience. They didn't teach us our facts. They just stressed us out, and you end up having to drill those facts in your head, and they didn't actually, the math minutes didn't do anything. They didn't make it any better. So instead of doing that sort of math, we're going to look at some strategies and figure out what are useful strategies that we can transfer into new experiences. So today our question is 51 take away 26, and we're using the strategy that's called constant difference. So this is when subtraction, one way of thinking about it is that there's a difference between the two numbers that, and a constant difference means that if we slide both of our numbers, I sort of think of it as sliding both of our numbers, that difference is going to be the same. They're still going to be as far apart. So I like to think about this on a number line. So if I have a number line and I have 51 and 26, well, I don't know how far apart those two numbers are. Those aren't numbers that are really just comfortable for me to know. But if I take my two numbers and I slide them, I'm going to slide 50. I'm going to slide down 1 to 50, and 26, I'm going to slide down 1 to 25. Now that size of that difference is the same. Sorry, the size of that difference is the same as this difference between 26 and 20 and 51. And I know that between 25 and 50 is 25. That's easy for me to know, mostly because of money. So that means that the same, that 51 take away 26 is also equal to 25, because I slid both of my numbers down the same amount to a friendlier number. And that means that the distance, the amount of space between is the same. And so my difference is the same both ways. So that's another strategy for doing subtraction, opposed to doing the standard algorithm where you attempt to borrow and it doesn't go well. All right. Mine's on. Let's engage in some prior learning before we dive into new ideas about buying vehicles. So there's some skills that you need to calculate vehicle costs. And when we're talking about buying cars and trucks, so we need to make sure that we know those skills. So first, calculating taxes, because we're talking about buying something, we should make sure that we know how to calculate taxes. HST is the tax in Ontario, and that currently is 13%. So if we're trying to figure out the tax on something, we can do the price times 0.13, right? 13% as a decimal, and that will equal our tax. That will tell us how much our tax is. If we want to know the total cost, we can do our price times 1.13, and that will give us the total cost, because it gives us our price and our tax together, because we have that one. The one includes our total price. So those are two different ways. You can either do your price times your 0.13, which is your tax, and then add it to your price, or you can do your price times 1.13, and that gives you your total cost. So that's an example of that. So how much do you actually pay for a box of diapers that are $34.95? So for our first method, if we calculate just the tax, so we do 34.95 times 0.13, we get $4.54. So then to figure out how much the total pay is we do 34.95 plus 4.54 equals $39.49. So that's how much we pay for the diapers. The second method, if we do it where we calculate it all at one time, we do 34.95 times 1.13. And if we do that on a calculator, we get 39.49. So we get the total right away. Both ways are totally fine to do. Whatever way makes sense in your brain is completely fine. So the second thing that we need, the second skill that we need to have is calculating discounts. So often when you're buying a big purchase, things are often discounted. So we need to figure out how to make sure that we know how to calculate those. So to calculate a discount, we can do it again in two ways. So we can do our price times the discount as a decimal, and that equals how much we need to subtract. So if it says that it is 15% off of something, if we times our 15 by our price, then that number that we get is how much is off. That's how much we subtract. The method is to do our price times 1 take away our discount as a decimal. So and that's going to tell us how much we pay. Because if we do 1 take away our discount amount, that's telling us we're taking away that 15%, say. So that means that we're paying 85%. So our price times 85% would give us how much we need to pay. So again, let's look at an example. Something that I forgot to mention, discounts get calculated first and then tax. Even I've done it the opposite here just to introduce the concepts. But when you're buying something, the discount is taken off of your amount first, and then the tax is calculated. So that's an example. So how much do you actually pay for a box of diapers that are $34.95 that are 20% off before taxes? So for this example, we're not going to worry about taxes. We're just going to look at what the price would be before taxes with a 20% off. So our first method, we can do our discount, we calculate, which is $34.95 times 0.2, 20% is a decimal, is equal to $6.99. So that means we subtract $6.99. That's how much we're taking off. So our total is $34.95, take away $6.99, which is $27.96. That's how much we pay for the diapers before taxes. Method 2 is when we do our total price times 1 take away 0.2. So we do $34.95 times 1 take away 0.2, which is $34.95 times 0.8, which is $27.96. So again, we get the same amount. They're just two different methods to get to the same place. Both methods for both of these for calculating taxes and discounts are completely fine, are totally valid to do either way, whichever way makes most sense for you. Just make sure that you're following through, that you know what you're doing, and that it makes sense. Okay, so let's activate some new concepts. We've got lots to go in today, so let's dive in. As always, when will I use this in real life? Well, we are learning how to make decisions and how to justify them. Many of us are probably going to make big purchases in our lives, whether or not they're vehicles or other things, but we need to learn how to make those decisions about those purchases, what's going on with them, as well as justify for ourselves and others about why that's a good decision or not a good decision. So that's what we're working with in this class. Cars are all around us, vehicles are all around us. So we're learning about the difference between being able to buy a really expensive car, being to buy a used beater car, a truck, a van. What is it that we're doing? These are something that in our lives, we all need vehicles. Basically, maybe you're just going to be able to ride the bus or walk because you can't afford a vehicle. Being able to understand that is really, really important. So buying a new vehicle, what does that look like? This is on page 29 of your IL book. And we need to know some dealership terminology. If you've ever been in a car dealership, you know they use a bunch of language that isn't necessarily familiar in all of our day-to-days. So understanding what they're talking about really helps you in order to be able to make your own decisions. So first, we have manufacturer suggested retail price, which shows up in questions or in ads and things as your MSRP. So this is a starting point for the price of a new vehicle. It's a suggestion. You can negotiate lower price, but that's what the manufacturer suggests as the retail price. Then we have a freight charge. This is a charge paid to transport the vehicle from the manufacturer to the dealership. We have tire and air tax. This is an environmental tax for the disposal of tires and the air conditioner cleanup. We have gas tax, a charge for vehicles with larger engines because they're not as fuel efficient. Administration fee, a charge to do all the paperwork and calculations in the transaction. License plate fee, a charge for supplying gas with the vehicle to drive off the lot, right? You want to be able to actually leave when you buy it to be able to drive home. A lien payout. So this is if money is still owed on a vehicle. If you're using it for a trade-in, then you have to pay the money off that is owed on the vehicle. Deal review. This is a record of all the costs and financial arrangements involved in purchasing. If you ever have bought a vehicle, you get a bunch of paperwork with a lot of words and a lot of numbers, and understanding that is really helpful. We have your manufacturer's rebate, which often is MFG, the short form. This is money returned to the buyer if by the manufacturer when the vehicle is bought. This is usually for inventory reasons or rebates. So just something to be aware of, not something that I know a lot about, but sometimes there's manufacturer rebates. And then depreciation is the amount of the value of the car that goes down each year. So many of us know or have heard that as soon as you buy a new car, it loses a lot of value as soon as you drive off the lot, and that's true. And so being able to calculate how much it depreciates, how much it loses that value is part of what we're learning today. All right, so buying a new vehicle, there are advantages and disadvantages. There are more, here's a couple. So advantages is that it's brand new. There's various features that you can choose from, so you can sort of design what you want. The disadvantages are that it's very expensive to buy a new vehicle. There are additional costs. So there's freight, delivery charges, registration, licensing fees. So when you're buying a new, you have to pay all of these extra costs, which if you're buying a used vehicle, you don't pay, they've already been paid. So you need to do your research and decide what is best for you. We can't guarantee the saying that buying a new vehicle is always best for everyone, or buying used is always best for everyone. It really depends on your situation, on what you have access to. So it's important to do your research and know what is best for you and your household. Okay, so how much will your payments be? Generally, most of us can't afford to buy a new vehicle, which is $20,000 or more, just by walking into a dealership and saying, here's $20,000. Most of us don't have that. So we're trying to figure out our payments, how much it's going to cost to pay over a period of time. This is on page 30 of your IL book. So we have our payments from, like we were doing yesterday, right? When we were talking about annuities and loans and RSPs, we're talking about payments. So we're using the same formula, R equal PV times I divided by 1 minus 1 plus I to the exponent negative n, where your PV is your amount that you're being invested or how much it's worth now, so how much your car is worth. Your R is your regular payments. Your I is your interest rate divided by your compounding period, and your N is the number of contributions or payments that you're making per year in total. So let's look at an example to figure out how much payment would be if you're buying a new vehicle. So Kenny is considering trading in his 15-year-old car to buy a brand new vehicle that is 18% off. The MSRP of a new vehicle, this new car is $26,500, plus he would choose an option package that costs $1,750. There's a freight charge of $695. The dealer is willing to give him a trade-in allowance of $1,200 on his old car. All prices are subject to HST, and he plans to finance the total purchase price over 6 years at a rate of 8% compounded monthly. there's a lot going on in there. So these questions you really need to dissect in terms to figure out what information you need and what it means. So part A, calculate the total cost. So the total cost of buying this car, buying a new car, is the purchase price plus the options plus the fees. That's all that he has to pay, minus any discounts that they're offering, minus any trade-in values, right? Because that's money that Kenny's getting back, kind of. So you're taking off that the amount that he's paying, and then plus the HST. So first we're going to calculate the discount amount, which was 18%. So just like we talked about, that's the price times 18% is 26,500 times 0.18 equals $4,770. That's how much the discount is. That's how much we're going to need to subtract. Okay, so we're going to put in all of our values. We're going to find we have our purchase price is 26,500 plus our options, which is 1,750 plus our fees, which is $695. Take away our discount, which is 4,770. Take away the trade-in value, which is 1,200, and then plus our HST. We still need to figure that out. So our HST, to calculate the tax, we need to do all of that number that we've already, we need to combine. So, because this is going to be all of our purchase price plus our options plus our fees, take away discounts, take our trade-in. So that amount times 0.13. So all that amount is 27,745 times 0.13 is equals $3,606.85. So we're going to add that in plus all the amount of the other ones. So we end up having 27,745 plus $3,606.85, which is a total of $31,351.85. So that's the total cost of buying this new vehicle. So then the second part of the question is, Kenny wants to make monthly payments. So we need to calculate how much those monthly payments are and how much interest Kenny pays. So Kenny is financing the total purchase price over 6 years at a rate of 8% compounded monthly. So we're looking for the monthly payments, and we're using our R equals PV times I divided by 1 minus 1 plus I, all to the exponent negative n. So we need to figure out, we're looking for payments. That's our R is what we're solving for. So our PV is a total purchase price. We just calculated that in A. So that's $31,351.85 is our PV. Our I is 0.08, 8% divided by 12 because it's compounded monthly. And our N is 6 because it's 6 years times 12 because it's 12 monthly payments equals 72. So put that information into our formula. We have 31,351.85 times 0.08 divided by 12, all divided by 1. Take away, open a bracket, 1 plus 0.08 divided by 12, close your bracket to the exponent negative 72. Then if you write that all out in numbers, which we've talked about in terms of if you're doing your division in your calculator, if you're writing it out and rounding, equals $549.74. So that is your monthly payment. So then the second part of the question is calculate your total interest paid. So the total amount of interest paid is your total amount, take away the amount that the cost of the vehicle, right? So you're going to first need to figure out your total amount, which is your payment times the number of payments, right? Which is what we calculated. So we have $549.74 times 72 payments. So that's $39,581.28. So then our interest is our total paid, may take away our total cost. So we have $39,581.28, take away $31,351.85, which gives us their interest paid was $8,229.43. So that's how much interest is paid for borrowing money to purchase the car, to pay it for over 6 years. So that's a lot. All right. So that's the first kind of things that we're trying to figure out is how much you're actually paying, your payment, and your interest. The next thing that we're going to look at is how to, or what's going on in a deal review. This is on page 32, your IL booklet. The IL booklet's formatting is really messed up. I had to look it up online to figure out what's going on. So look closely at what I have on my screen. If you need me to send you a reformatted version, let me know when I can, but you can just rewrite it. It's fine for your work, either on a computer or by hand. But it's another edit that I need to make that I haven't been able, or that I wasn't able to do before sending the booklets out. So the deal review has everything that you are going to pay, how much, all the discounts, and if you have any trade-in allowances, everything's written out in your deal review. So it has all the information. You need to figure out what's going on with it. So we're going to look at it again, and we're going to look at a question in order to figure out what is going on in a deal review. So here's our question. Jorge is ready to purchase a compact car with an MSRP of $18,375. He negotiates a discount of $2,400. The following additional costs need to be included in the delivery price: $850 freight charge, a $100 tire and air tax, a $75 gas tax, a $70 administration fee, a $70 license plate fee, and a $25 gas fee. Jorge makes a down payment of $4,000 and finances the rest of the dealership at 4.9% compounded monthly for 48 months. He pays a $54 fee to arrange the financing. The question's asking you to complete a deal review. So we have our deal review chart. This deal review always comes in this chart is organizing information. So we're putting our information in. Really, we're just organizing information. So first, MSRP, the list price, we find that in the question. It's $18,375, sorry, we brought that in. The discount, he negotiated a discount of $2,400, so we put that in. Credits and discounts are negative in the deal review because they're taking away from the amount that you have to pay. So the purchase price, we calculate. So the list price, take away your discounts. So $18,375, take away $2,400, which is $15,075. That's what we write in the purchase price. Then we need to calculate, we'll continue filling out the chart. So next it's freight, which is $850, tire and air tax, which is $100, gas tax, which is $75, administration fee, which is $70, and trade allowance. This question, there's no trade allowance. You didn't trade in the vehicle, so it's not applicable. So you can either write 0 or leave it blank. Either way is fine. So then we are now taxable total is we're calculating how much we can, like what's the subtotal. So to do that, to calculate that, we are doing our purchase price plus our freight plus our tire and air tax plus gas tax plus administration fee, take away any trade-in allowance. So for these values, we have $15,975 plus $850 plus $100 plus $75 plus $70, take away 0, equal to $17,070. And that's our total taxable amount. Next, we need to calculate the taxes. So the taxes are our total taxable amount times 13%. So we have $17,070 times 0.13, which is equal to $2,219.10. That we put in the taxable box. Then the license plate fee, we find in the question, that was $70. The gas fee was $25. The lien payout, there was no talk about a lien. There's no trade-in allowance, so there's no trade-in vehicle, so there's no lien. So that again is not applicable. We can leave it blank or put 0. So then we have to calculate the delivery price. The delivery price is your taxable total plus your taxes, plus your license plate fee, plus your gas fee, and plus your lien payout. So the $17,070 plus $2,219 plus 10 cents plus 70 plus 25 plus 0 because there's no lien payout. So that equals $19,384.10. We keep going. Next, we are seeing if there's any MFG rebate. There's none in this question. It's not applicable, so that's blank or 0. The down payment, Jorge pays a down payment of $4,000. Again, this is negative on our deal review because Jorge is paying that upfront, so that doesn't have to be financed later. So that's negative $4,000 in your deal review. And then because he's financing, he has to pay a fee of $54 to calculate the financing. So the amount that's being financed is your delivery price, take away MFG rebate, take away down payment, plus your finance fee. So $19,384.10 minus 0 minus 4,000 plus 54. So that's $15,438.10 is how much Jorge needs to finance. So it pays $4,000 up front, and he still needs to pay $15,438.10, which he's going to pay as a finance, as a loan over a period of time. So the interest rate we see in the question is 4.9% compounded monthly. So that is 0.049 divided by 12. And the loan term is 48 months. So we need to calculate the monthly payment. And that's going to take a bit of work. So we're going to come back. We're going to do this in a separate page. Most of this we've been able to do fairly just filling in the chart. Monthly payment is going to have to be able to calculate. So we're going to rewrite that on another part of your paper, on another slide, and then go back and fill it into our chart. So we need to find Jorge's monthly payment when he is financing $15,438.10 at 4.9% compounded monthly for 48 months. So we're using our payment formula to calculate payments, which is R equals PV times I divided by 1 minus 1 plus I to the exponent negative n. So we have to figure out our PV is $15,438.10. Our I is 0.049 divided by 12, and our N is 48. So this is just the same as what we had in our previous page with our deal review. We put in our values. So we have R equals $15,438.10 times 0.049 divided by 12, all divided by 1, take away, open a bracket, 1 plus 0.049 divided by 12, close a bracket, all to the exponent negative 48. We can do the division and write down our decimals if we need to, but then our monthly payment is going to be $354.83. So then we go back to our deal and we put that in our monthly payment, $354.84 in our monthly payment spot on our deal review. And that's how you complete a deal review. So you really need to go through your question and pick out all the information and fill it in. If the information isn't there, then it means it's not applicable most likely. And then you need to figure out which parts you need to calculate and how you calculate them. So it takes a little bit of practice. All right, so now you should be able to do the support questions on page 32, questions 1 through 3. We're going to look at buying a used vehicle. So this is on page 33. There are advantages again and disadvantages of buying a used vehicle. So the advantages are that it's cheaper. There's no freight, air tire tax, or gas tax because that's already been paid. But their disadvantages are that it's worth less because it's already depreciated in value, especially in that first year. It may need repairs, and you have no choice for options. You can't pick anything. So those are some disadvantages. Again, you do your research and decide what is best for you. So for this part, we're going to calculate the resale value. So how much a vehicle is worth once it's used. Do this, our formula is V equals P times 1 minus R, all to the exponent N. So V is the resale value in dollars. P is the MSRP amount in dollars, the price in dollars. R, the little r, is the annual depreciation rate written as a decimal. So that's going to be different depending on the vehicle, how much it depreciates, how much it loses value. And N is the age of cars in years. So looking at an example, Harold wants to trade in his 4-year-old truck. The truck has an MSRP of $29,465. The average depreciation is 22%. Estimate the current resale value. So to do this, we know we're calculating the resale value, so that we're using the formula V equals P times 1 minus R of the exponent N. So V is what we're looking for, the current resale value. P is 29,465. R is 22%, so 0.22. That's your depreciation rate. And N is 4 because it's a 4-year-old truck. So V equals 29,465 times 1 take away 0.22 all to the exponent 4, which is 29,465 times 0.78 to the exponent 4, which is equal to $10,906.49. So therefore, after 4 years, the current resale value is $10,906.49. So you can see significantly less. Every year it loses 22%. That's a lot. That's all in terms of the calculations for buying used vehicles. So now you can go to your support questions on page 34 and answer questions page 4 through 6. All right, let's look at vehicle costs. This is on page 34 of your IL book. So there are many costs involved in owning and operating a vehicle. If you've ever done that, you know that there's tons and tons of things to think about. So there's fixed costs. These are the costs that do not change. Things like insurance or licensing, you have to pay them every year or every month, and they don't change. You just have to do them. Then there are variable costs, and these are costs that fluctuate, that change. So gas changes depending on how much it costs at the gas station or how much you drive. The repairs, different vehicles are going to need different repairs at different times, and general maintenance is going to change. Some months you're not going to have it, some months you're going to have a lot. So we're going to focus on calculating fuel costs because that's something that we really need to take into account. It's going to have a really big impact on your budgeting and knowing how much you can afford. So determine the cost to drive 24,690 kilometers. So that's like a year worth of driving at the fuel consumption rate of 4.8 liters per 100 kilometers, with the average cost of fuel being $1.65 per liter. So when you're determining fuel costs, you have each vehicle consumes gas at a different rate. And so you have to figure out how much fuel you consume for driving a certain distance, and then multiply that by the cost of fuel. So step 1 is to figure out how much fuel is consumed. And then step 2 is figuring out how much, I wrote the same thing twice, figure out the cost of that, how much it costs for that fuel. Okay, so for step 1, we're going to do our total kilometers times our fuel consumption rate. That's how we figure out how much fuel is consumed. So our total kilometers are 24,690 times our fuel consumption rate, which is 4.8 liters per 100 kilometers. So we have to do 24,690 times 4.8 divided by 100. And that gives us 1,184.12 liters. So the total fuel consumed for that distance is 1,185.12 liters. So then to figure out how much it costs, we do our fuel consumed, how much fuel we consumed times the average cost. So we just calculated the fuel consumed, which is 1,185.12 liters. And then we times that by $1.65 per liter. So that gives us $1,995.45, which is a total cost of driving 24,690 kilometers, say, in a year. And so being able to calculate your fuel cost is really, really important. And you need to do both those steps: how much fuel is consumed, how much it costs. All right, so then the next part about vehicle costs is figuring out how much your average monthly operating costs are. So in the first 2 years, let's look at a question to figure out all of that. So in the first 2 years that Madge owns her car, she drives 47,348 kilometers. She does maintenance on her vehicle according to the distance maintenance schedule. Every car tells you how often you do maintenance. And the fuel consumption rating of her car is 6.7 liters per 100 kilometers. Each year she pays $785 for insurance and $74 for a license plate. During those 2 years, she renews her driver's license for $50. The average cost of fuel during the 2 years is $1.55 per liter. So we need to determine Madge's average monthly operating costs during those 2 years. Again, lots of information, and we need to figure out how to organize it so that we can calculate what we need to calculate. So we have this chart that organize it. You can copy it out from here. I can't remember how well organized it is in your aisle book, but we have our fuel costs. So first we have how many kilometers driven. We have 47,348. The fuel consumption is 47,348 times 6.7 divided by 100, right? A fuel consumption rate. So that means that our number of liters of gas per those 2 years is 3,172.31. And the cost per liter is $1.55. So the total of that fuel cost is going to be 3,172.31 times 1.55, which is $4,917.09. So that's how much it costs in fuel for that year. Next, we're going to look at vehicle maintenance. So how vehicle maintenance works is that you do it every certain number of kilometers. So it's going to change depending on how many kilometers you drive. So to do lube, oil, and change your filter, frequency is every 5,000 kilometers. So figuring out how many times you do that in those 2 years, we're going to do our total number of kilometers, which is 47,348 divided by 5,000. And that gives us 9. It doesn't give us 9 exactly, but because we haven't gotten to the next 5,000, we just round down. We just say that we've done that 9 times in those 2 years because we do it every 500 or 5,000 times. So tire rotation and brake inspection is every 10,000 kilometers. So we do our total kilometers, 47,348 divided by 10,000, which gives us 4. Our wheel alignment is every 25,000 kilometers. So we do 47,348 divided by 25,000. So that only happens once. The cooling system is every 50,000 kilometers. So 47,348 divided by 50,000 is going to be 0. We haven't got to 50,000 yet. Tune-up and emission system is at every 50,000. So again, 47,348 divided by 50,000 is 0. We haven't got that far. An automatic transmission at 85,000. So for 47,348 divided by 85,000 is going to give you 0 again, because it's going to be less than 1. We haven't got that far. So then we know the number of times that we've done it in those 2 years. So then to figure out the cost of that, we have the cost listed for once. So our maintenance cost, we do times the number of times that we did it. So for oil and lube filter, we did it 9 times at a cost of $29.95. So that's going to be a total of $269.55. And the tire rotation, we did 4 times a cost of $41.50. So that's $166. The wheel alignment, we did once times $69.75. So that's $69.75. The cooling system, we did it 0 times. So 0 times $72.95 is still 0. We did the tune-up 0 times, so 0 times 225 is 0. And the automatic transition we did 0 times, so 0 times 145 is still 0. Then we add up our costs here, and we get a subtotal of $505.30. Then we calculate our tax, which is the same way that we always calculate tax. Our subtotal times 0.13, which is $65.69. And so then we add it to our subtotal, so we get a total maintenance costs of $570.99. Okay, now there's still more that we need to figure out. So we have the insurance per year, our insurance costs, and our license total. So those are the other totals that we need to calculate. So our insurance per year, it says that each year she pays $785 for insurance. We're talking about 2 years. So we're going to times that by 2 to get a subtotal. So 785 times 2 is 15,070. So we're going to times that by 0.13 to get our tax. So our insurance total is 1,570 plus $204.10, which is our insurance total is 1,774.10. Then our license plate fee, we need to still calculate. So that was $74 for 2 years. So the total license plate fee is 74 times 2. Then we had our license renewal, which was $50 for the 2 years. So the license total is going to be 148 because that's 74 times 2 plus 50. So that's $198. So then we need to figure out our total cost, which is our fuel total plus our maintenance total plus our insurance total plus our license total. So that equals $4,917.09 plus $570.99 plus $1,774.10 plus $198. And so that equals $7,460.18. So that's the total cost for those 2 years. So then to figure out the average monthly cost, we do that total amount. And I've made a mistake here because I did $77,460.18 divided by 12, but this was for 2 years, right? So that means that really, should I be dividing it by 12? Nope, I should be dividing it by 24. So that means that my total average monthly cost is going to be what I wrote down, which is $310.84. So that's how much it costs Madge in vehicle costs per month for those 2 years. All right, so that should help you with your support questions on page 36, questions 7 and 8. So let's consolidate all that we've done. It's a lot. Today was a jam-packed day. So lesson 10 highlights: buying new and used vehicles and the costs. So buying a new vehicle, we learned how to calculate monthly payment. We learned about completing a deal review. A used vehicle, we calculated the resale value, which was V equals P times 1 minus R to the exponent N, which is a depreciation value. And the cost of owning a vehicle, we learned how to calculate fuel costs, as well as calculating the monthly costs averages, which include fuel, maintenance, insurance, and licenses. So to our success criteria, we can calculate all the costs involved in buying a new vehicle and calculate the fixed and variable costs of owning and operating a vehicle. So we should be good to go. All right, we have a couple of minutes, so we'll do a couple of questions, work through, maybe we'll see how we do. So this question is: determine the resale costs of a 3-year-old vehicle with an MSRP of $31,000 $594, and an annual depreciation rate of 22%. I don't have it all memorized, so being able to look up your formula is totally fine. So for depreciation rate, the formula is V equals P times 1 minus R to the exponent N. And we need to find our values. So we're looking for the value. So that's what we're looking for, V. Our P is equal to 31,594. Our R is equal to 0.22 because it's 22%. And our N is equal to 3 because it's a 3-year-old vehicle. So we put those in our formula. So V equals 31,594 times 1, take away 0.22, all to the exponent 3 is equal to, I'm going to put that into my calculator, 31,594 times 1, take away 0.22, and that to the exponent 3 is equal to $14,992.99. So the value after 3 years is, sorry, I talk faster than I write. Value after 3 years is $14,992.99. And that's how you calculate the depreciation rate. Then we're going to do one more question. Determine the cost to drive 18,000 kilometers at the fuel consumption rating of 7.3 liters per 100 kilometers at an average cost of fuel being 76 cents per liter. So it's cheap gas. This is not anywhere where we live. So first we're going to calculate part 1. We're going to calculate the fuel consumption rate. So how much fuel we consumed. So we have our 18,000, how much we drove, times 7.3 divided by 100. So again, I do that in my calculator. 18,000 times 7.3 divided by 100 is equal to 1,314 liters. It can help to put your units in because then you know that you ended up with what you wanted. Like we had kilometers times liters divided by kilometers. So our kilometers cancel off and we end up with liters. That can help for some folks. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. So that means that the fuel consumption for that amount of distance is 1,314 liters. So step 2 of this is calculating the cost. So now we need to do our liters times how much it costs per liter. So we have 1,314 liters times cheap gas of 76 cents per liter, which is equal to $1,314 times 0.76, which is equal to $998.64. So the cost, the average cost of fuel would be $198.64. Okay, you do a fuel cost question. All right, so that is all of our time for today. So if you have any questions, of course, contact me, please. This is a lot of information again today, but hopefully it's a lot of just sort of filling in the blanks. My number, you can call and leave a message for me at the office, which is 807-737-1488 or toll free 1-800-667-3703. You can send me an email at bronwyn.slate@nnec.on.ca. You can always connect with me on Facebook at bslatewasa. This replay will be put up on, or this video will be put up as replay on YouTube at bslatewasa. I hope you have a lovely day and coming.